Plants Bite Back. Written by Richard Platt. There are no flies on this plant. It's eaten them all. See how the Venus flytrap catches insects on pages 8 to 11. Beware of the giant saguaro cactus on page 40. It's covered in thousands of sharp spines. Find out why this tree is called the candelabra tree on page 44. Plant power. Plants cover the surface of the earth. Without them, we could not survive. One of their most important jobs is to provide food for animals and people. But not all plants can be munched for lunch. Some make bitter poisons to keep animals from eating them. Some arm themselves with spikes or stings. Others turn the tables completely. They catch animals and eat them. Every country in the world has its share of stinging, scratching, and biting plants. This map shows where some of them grow and where you will find them in the pages that follow. Would you ever wake up again if you fell asleep under the deadly upas tree? Find out on page 36. If you think only wasps and bees can sting, read about the stinger tree on page 30. Uncover the secrets of the beautiful and deadly prayer bean on page 34. North America. South America. Europe. Africa. Asia. Australasia. Greedy green guzzlers. On the edge of a swamp, a damselfly flies over a plant with strange-looking leaves. The damselfly hovers, then lands. Snap! The comb-shaped sides of the leaf spring together and trap the damselfly. The plant is a Venus flytrap. It is a carnivorous or meat-eating plant. These plants are unusual. Of the 250,000 different kinds of plants on Earth, only about 400 are carnivorous. Carnivorous plants grow in marshes or bogs. Boggy soil does not contain enough of the minerals that plants need to grow well. Carnivorous plants get an extra supply of these minerals by eating insects. They can survive without eating insects, but the extra minerals help them to grow better. The Venus flytrap grows on marshes in North and South Carolina in the United States. Catching insects is not easy when you are a plant. The Venus flytrap has no eyes to see flies. It has no ears to hear the hum of a honeybee. So how does it lure its lunch? Like every trap, the Venus flytrap contains bait. Sugary nectar covers the leaves. Insects smell the nectar and think it's mealtime. They are right, but they never guess they are on the menu. Trigger hair. Once the damselfly touches the trigger hairs, the leaf closes. The leaf's spiny edges interlock so the insect cannot escape. 3 tiny hairs on each leaf act as triggers. As soon as an insect touches the hairs, twang goes the trap. In less than a second, the sides of the leaf close in enough to trap a large insect. After 30 minutes, the trap is shut tightly and fills with liquid. Over a week or two, most of the insect's body dissolves into dead insect soup. The plant absorbs this liquid food through its leaf surface. Bladderwort stems and flowers grow above water. The Venus flytrap is the only plant with deadly jaws, but the bladderwort has an even sneakier way of catching lunch. It sucks up its victims, just like a vacuum cleaner sucks up dust. A bladderwort eats very tiny water insects and fish. It can swallow little fry, baby fish, in a single bite. Bladderworts are among the most common of carnivorous plants. They float in ponds or grow in very wet ground. They even live in puddles of rainwater that form in the cup-shaped leaves of other plants. This mosquito larva is too big for the bladderwort to swallow. It will probably wiggle free. A water flea gets too close to a bladderwort. The flea is sucked into the plant's trap. The bladderwort digests its meal. You would need a microscope to see a bladderwort catch its prey. On each of its roots are a number of traps that look like tiny bubbles. Each trap has a little door that shuts tight. To set the trap, the plant sucks water out of it. This makes the trap's springy wall cave inward. There are tiny trigger hairs on the trap. If an insect, such as a water flea, touches the hairs, the trap door suddenly opens. The sucked-in sides of the trap spring out. Water rushes in, sucking the flea with it. Snap! The door closes again, trapping the insect inside. This happens in 1/50th of a second, faster than the eye can see. But the bladderwort does not bolt its food. A mixture of chemicals in the trap slowly dissolves the water flea's body. A bladderwort's root system, showing the bubble-like traps. Plants that eat people. Carnivorous plants mostly eat insects. People-eating plants, such as this one from the film Little Shop of Horrors, exist only in science fiction. Unlike bladderworts, pitcher plants have no moving parts. Instead, they drown their prey in pools of liquid. These pools are a mixture of water and digestive juices. They form in the plant's jug-shaped leaves, which are called pitchers. The largest pitcher plants grow in Borneo, an island in Southeast Asia. These giant pitchers are big enough to trap insects, small birds, frogs, and even rats. The monkey cup pitcher plant gets its name because thirsty monkeys drink from its pitchers. Humans use the pitchers too, as buckets and sometimes as cooking pots. The pitcher forms at the tip of a leaf. Cross-section of a pitcher. This monkey cup pitcher's lid is open. It is ready to trap prey. But how does a pitcher plant catch its prey? Imagine a fly buzzing through the jungle. It spots a brightly coloured pitcher. The fly lands on the pitcher's slippery edge. It smells nectar around the rim. It sees shiny ridges leading down into the pitcher. The hungry fly climbs into the pitcher to suck up the nectar. But the inner surface of the pitcher is covered in loose, waxy flakes. The fly begins to slip and slide. As it scrabbles and struggles, the waxy flakes peel away and the fly loses its grip. Splash! It sinks into the liquid and drowns, and the pitcher plant begins to digest its latest meal. Glands on the inner surface of the pitcher make digestive juices that dissolve the plant's prey. Sundew plants are nature's own flypaper. Their leaves are covered in a shiny goo that lures insects to a sticky end. The glue-like drops give the plant its name. In sunlight they shine like dew. For unwary insects, the sparkling leaves may be the last thing they see. Although sundews are found all over the world, the greatest variety grows in Australia. The smallest is no bigger than a shirt button, but a few types grow into sticky bushes higher than an adult's waist. A group of sundew plants growing in poor, boggy soil. Every leaf of the sundew plant is covered in fine hairs. Every hair has a blob of sticky gunk at the tip. When an insect lands on a sundew's leaf, just one touch of one hair is enough to catch and hold the insect. When the insect tries to get free, it touches another hair, then another. A fly finds it is stuck fast. As it struggles, more hairs bend toward it. Their sticky tips clamp the wiggling creature tightly. The more the insect struggles, the tighter the leaf grips. Eventually, the insect's body is crushed, and it dies a sticky death. The leaf pours out digestive juices to dissolve the fly's body. Why buy flypaper? Instead of using flypaper, people in countries such as Portugal sometimes hang up bunches of sundew plants to catch flies. This plant will sting, make you sick, kill. Red baneberry, columbine, pinkroot. Deadly weeds. Carnivorous plants are no danger to humans, but some other plants are. If you took a walk in this North American woodland, would you spot the plants you should avoid? Some plants make mild poisons to stop animals from eating them. If you touched or ate one, it would sting you or make you sick. Some plants even make poisons that can kill. So never touch or bite a strange plant. It might bite back. Poison ivy, water hemlock, Canadian wood nettle, yew, fruit and nuts. Poison ivy has some delicious relatives. Cashew nuts and mango fruit grow on plants of the same family. Stinging plants use chemical weapons to keep animals from eating them. Poison ivy is a stinging plant that grows all over North America. The plant contains a sticky oil. If you brush against the plant, the oil that oozes out from bruised leaves or stems can spread onto your skin. Some people feel a sting immediately. Others feel nothing at first, but hours later their skin starts to blister and itch unbearably. In a few days, the blisters turn into oozing, crusted sores. You can develop these sores without ever touching a poison ivy plant. Its oil can be spread by pets, garden tools, sports equipment, in fact, anything that touches a bruised or broken plant. The glossy pointed leaf of a poison ivy plant. Some stinging plants have weak chemicals, but they can still pack a painful punch. To do this, they need to get their poisons right through the skin. The stinging nettle does this with millions of tiny hollow spikes. If you touch a stinging nettle leaf, the spikes will prick your skin. The tips of the spikes break off and release acid from the plant. The acid flows through the hollow spikes and into your skin. The tiny glass-like tip snaps off when the spike is touched. The spike is filled with chemicals from base to tip. Once the tip has broken off, the remaining point is sharp enough to pierce skin. The base tightens and squeezes poison along the spike. Close-up view of 2 nettle spikes. The acid causes a throbbing, painful, hot white rash. Fortunately, this usually goes away after an hour or 2, although some people suffer for up to 24 hours. Dock to the rescue. The dock plant, which often grows near nettles, can ease the pain of a nettle rash if its leaves are crushed and pressed onto the sting. Nettles are not very harmful to humans, but they have a highly dangerous relative, the stinger tree of Australia. Its name alone should fill you with fear. Stinger tree leaves are nasty weapons. They are covered in hollow hairs with very sharp tips. The hairs work like the needle of a doctor's syringe. If you touch a leaf, the hair tips break off and the hairs inject poison into your skin. If you brush your arm against a stinger tree, it will give you a sting you will never forget. Your arm will throb painfully all day. It will still tingle 2 weeks later. But if you happened to get stung all over by stinger tree leaves, the pain would be so bad you would not be able to walk or get up. You could even receive enough poison to kill you. Many dangerous plants have no sting. Some are even quite beautiful. You would never guess from its pretty blue flowers that monkshood contains a powerful poison. Its name is aconitine. Aconitine. And even tiny amounts of it can kill. In Italy, hundreds of years ago, murderers gave their enemies gloves dusted with aconitine powder. The poison entered the victims' bodies through cuts or scratches on their fingers. Wolf killer. Another name for the monkshood plant is wolf's bane. It got this name because its roots were once used to poison wolves. A cut-up monkshood flower. The roots, leaves, stems, and even the flowers of the monkshood are poisonous. Like the monkshood, the bright red seeds of the prayer bean plant look harmless. People in India use the seeds to make necklaces and rosaries. But wearing a prayer bean necklace is a bad idea. Each little seed contains enough poison to kill an adult. If the tough outer casing of the seed is broken or cracked, the poison inside escapes. It can enter the body through a scratch or cut. Weighing them up. Because prayer bean seeds are all nearly exactly the same weight and size, they were once used as weights to weigh gold and diamonds. Prayer bean plant. Malaysian people frightened the first European visitors to their land with tales of the deadly upas tree. They called it the tree of poisons. They said that the tree killed birds flying over it, and that anyone who slept in its shade would never wake up. 700 years later, we know that these stories are untrue. Birds perch unharmed in the tree's branches, and sleeping under the tree is perfectly safe. However, the sap of the tree contains a deadly poison. A scratch from the bark causes a painful rash. Poison taken from the sap can stop the heart from beating in just a few minutes. Local people once executed prisoners by tying them to the tree or by stabbing them with a stick dipped in the poison. Engraving from an old book of poisons showing the deadly upas tree. In the depths of the Amazon rainforest grow thousands of kinds of bushes, vines, and trees. Here, the native people found the ingredients to make one of the world's most powerful natural poisons, curare. The native people used the poison to hunt animals. To get the poison, they soaked the bark and roots of certain plants in water, then boiled the water to make a paste. They smeared the paste on small darts and shot the darts from long bamboo blowpipes. The hunters shot monkeys to test the poison. If the monkey fell quickly from a tree, the poison was one-tree poison, the strongest. If the monkey swung to another tree before falling, the poison was two-tree poison. Three-tree poison was rejected as too weak. Solid curare. Bottle of curare. Darts tipped with curare. Dart case. Nature's daggers. Many plants protect themselves with thorns, spikes, and spines instead of poison. These prickly, pesky plants sprout almost everywhere. In the deserts of America grow the spiniest of all plants, the cactus family. Cacti, plural for cactus, have spines instead of leaves. These sharp spines keep thirsty animals from munching the cactus's juicy stem. The spines also help the cactus to get water. Mist and dew collect on the spines and drip or trickle down to water the cactus's roots. Cactus plants can get very tall. The biggest is the saguaro cactus. In 150 years, it can grow as big as a 5-story building. Bramble. Right, saguaro cactus. Aztec warriors capture victims for sacrifice on a cactus. The spines of the Mexican hedgehog cactus are like daggers. The Aztecs of ancient Mexico had a grisly use for this plant. If one of their gods demanded a gift of human blood, they stretched prisoners across the cactus. The spines pierced the prisoners' bodies. Cactus spines are bad enough, but the tufts of stiff, fine hair that grow on some cacti can also cause terrible pain. Each hair has a hook on the end. Once stuck in your flesh, the hairs are almost impossible to remove. Many people have innocent-looking bunny ears cacti in their homes. They are part of the prickly pear family and have hundreds of hairs on each of their pads, flattened stems. The fluffy stems look like rabbit's ears. Going fishing? In the past, people have used the strong hooked spines of the barrel cactus as fishing hooks. Look out! Candelabra tree stems contain milky sap that can burn your skin and even cause blindness if it gets in your eyes. Poinsettia. Gardeners love spurge plants. They are fleshy, bushy shrubs with colourful leaves and flowers. The popular poinsettia plant is a member of the spurge family. Many wild spurges are spiny as well as colourful. The sharpest, spikiest spurge of all is the candelabra tree. The candelabra tree gets its name from its unusual shape. If it were smaller, it would look like a candelabra or candle stand. However, candelabra trees are not small. They are huge. In South Africa, where they grow wild, candelabra trees may reach the height of a house. In some areas, the parents of twins plant a pair of the trees in front of their home to mark the birth. They believe that the trees will ward off evil spirits and protect the children. Nobody dares cut down these trees, even when the home is gone and the twins are long dead. A candelabra tree growing on the African plains. A spiky candelabra tree stem. Taming the plants. Plants that bite back are not bad plants. They are just plants that have clever ways of surviving in a tough world. And while we humans may curse their prickles and stings, we have also learned how useful they can be. Cattle herders in some parts of Africa build thorny fences to keep their animals safe. In Mexico, burglar-proof hedges of prickly pear cacti protect some homes. Even stinging plants have had their uses to humans. In chilly weather, Roman soldiers warmed their legs by beating them with nettle plants. Women once used plants instead of makeup. They rubbed their cheeks with the woolly leaves of mullein plants. Mullein leaves are covered in soft, fine hairs. These hairs irritated the women's skin and gave their cheeks a bright, rosy glow. Mullein plant. Foxglove. But what use is a poisonous plant? The answer may surprise you. Plant poisons that kill in large doses can heal in smaller amounts. Doctors once used aconitine, from the deadly monkshood plant, to help calm patients' nerves. You could die from heart failure if you ate just 4 leaves from the foxglove plant. But foxglove poison is now used to treat some heart disorders. Doctors once used curare to relax patients' muscles before surgery. And today, scientists are extracting anti-cancer drugs from the poisonous yew tree. Who knows what uses will be found for deadly plants in the future? A doctor and nurse prepare a patient for surgery. Yew. Glossary. Absorb. To soak up or take in something. Acid. A burning chemical. Aconitine. A deadly poison found in the monkshood plant. Amazon rainforest. A very wet forest by the Amazon River in South America. Bait. Something that encourages prey to come closer to a trap. Bane. An old-fashioned word for poison. Bog, marsh, swamp. Different kinds of wet, spongy land. Cactus. A family of spiny plants with fleshy stems that store water. Carnivorous plant. A plant that gets extra minerals from the dead bodies of animals. Curare. An arrow poison made from a mixture of plants. Desert. Land where little or no rain falls. Digestive juices. Liquid filled with chemicals that help to break down food so that it can be absorbed by a plant or animal. Fry. Baby fish. Glands. Structures inside a plant or animal that produce chemicals such as digestive juices. Insect. A 6-legged animal with no backbone. Its body is divided into 3 parts. Larva. A young animal that is completely different from an adult animal of the same kind. For example, a caterpillar is the larva of a butterfly. Microscope. An instrument for looking at tiny things. It has lenses that make things look bigger. Minerals. Inorganic, neither plant nor animal, substances that all living things need in order to grow. Nectar. A liquid made by flowering plants. Poison. A substance that kills or damages living things. Prey. Animals that are caught and eaten by plants or other animals. Root. The part of a plant that takes in water and minerals. Trigger hairs. Sensitive hairs that grow on plants near their traps. If touched, the hairs send a message to the plant to make it shut its trap.